Before we get into the topics of March, what we're going to do is do some housekeeping. So I do want everybody to remember that email is extremely important to keep checking. Okay, I just want to emphasize that because I know we're very much into texting and such, but trust me when I tell you that checking your emails, especially checking spam, is going to be imperative when you get to college because your professors will not be texting you. They will be emailing you. So one of the really big building skills that you're going to be doing in these next several years is really that skill building of continuously checking your emails and checking spam as well. Okay. And I know that there are a lot of instructions within the email. So getting yourself kind of honed in to those details are going to be extremely important when those professors give you their syllabus, right? It's all about the details for success. So I think this is a really, really good habit to get into. Okay. So with that in mind, for the goals for this month, okay, we had confirming summer program plans. Some of you have actually reached out to me to tell me what your plans are so that we could also talk about your options. So if anyone needs more confirmation on that, please book a meeting with me. In addition, we should be all set now with next year's class schedule. So if you feel that you're still having some questions, again, book a meeting with me. If you haven't already, please go to my homepage on my website, collegedriven.com, and take the ideal demographic quiz. Okay, that quiz is set up to give you an idea in today's terms of what demographic you would be most liking for your college. Suburban, rural, or a city urban type environment. Okay. And so without further ado, we will go ahead and get started on what we have here today. So we are talking about a very, very important segment of your high school career. And that is this: your ticket to play when it comes to highly selective colleges is just beyond the GPA. The GPA, okay, your high GPA, the course rigor that you have in your schedule, and your test scores, if they are high, if you are happy with them, understand that when you're looking at highly selective colleges, that is only your ticket to play. That gets you to the game. And that is all that does. It's great. It's what you've worked for, but it isn't going to get you the seat at that highly selective college. They use the GPA, the course rigor, and the test scores because those are really easy numbers to look at to see if you move on from the gatekeeper. Okay, so that's why colleges can get 60,000 applications for only 2,000 seats. Okay, they're not looking at 60,000 applications. They have created a gatekeeper. They've been using AI forever and a day. This isn't something that is new to colleges. So the way that they dissect that 60,000 of the applications that they've received is they look at the numbers first. And if you're not meeting a pretty wide range, I will say, of their average, then you are automatically discarded out. Okay. And you will inevitably get that denial letter. So when it comes to GPA, course rigor, and test scores, you may be number one at your school. You may be number two at your school. But when you think about how many high schools are there? If there's even 6,000 high schools out there, there are 12,000 alone, salutarians and valedictorians, that are vying for highly selective colleges. Okay. So when you think of it in that respect, this is just the bottom line of really what gets you to the table. Okay. Then if that's the case, then what do colleges want to know when they finally, if you have surpassed the gatekeeper of the numbers, what do they want to know about you? What I want you to understand, and this is extremely important because if you're a freshman and a sophomore, you have time to develop this now. You are getting the secrets right now as to what highly selective colleges are honing in on, and then you have time to actually do something about it. All right. So I really hope that you take advantage of the time that you have to really develop into an applicant that is very strong competitively amongst your peers. What I don't want you to what I do want you to understand is that this is not a checklist. Okay. So I've got that little checklist thing down at the bottom. No, this is not a checklist. This is not a, okay, if I do this, this, and this, then, and I've got the baseline of grades and test scores and rigor, then yes, I'm getting it. That still is not going to be a guarantee. Okay. And based on that, you really have to just bring to the table who you are. So when it comes to who you are, what do colleges want to know about you? How do you spend your time? That is so important. The entire activities section in the Common Application represents your life as to where your time goes, okay? And at the end of this month, I'm having a master class on, do you think you are a competitive applicant for highly selective colleges? And we're going to go through some characteristics of students that I have personally worked with. And I've really kind of sat back and thought about each person who got admitted to highly selective colleges, right? And I'm thinking, what's the common thread? What's the common thread with each of these students that were accepted? And I'm hoping that I don't offend anyone at this masterclass. I'm just being real with you in stating that there are certain characteristics that come with a successful applicant to highly selective colleges. So you should probably tune in to see if you have those characteristics or not, right? So they want to know, how do you spend your time? Did you make an impact with where you've spent your time? One of the worst words you could use in a description of an activity is the word participant. Participant is not what highly selective colleges are hoping to have enter onto their campus in the fall. So not only is it about how you've spent your time, but also how did you make an impact? And did you lead? I understand not all of us are leaders, and I get that, okay? But highly selective colleges absolutely get behind the well-known phrase that leaders are made, not born. And when you lead, you learn so much because it's not just about taking the helm and moving something forward. It's also about having others follow you in your leadership. Okay. And so that's really what they're kind of debating. You have to understand that when they're looking at your college application, they're not just looking at you as a student in the classroom. They're looking at you as a student on their campus, a community member. And not only that, you're also going to be somebody's roommate. So how do you get along with others? Are you able to bring people together to get behind your cause and then make an impact from there? So you're being evaluated from all these different angles, not just a student on campus, but a community member and a roommate. So understand that as well. Okay. Were you challenged? Now, this question can be answered in several areas of your application, one being course rigor, right? But when we're talking about what you do, okay, were you challenged in that? There is no shame in you trying something and it didn't work. Sometimes those experiences of failure make for the best essays because it's not about the failure, it's about the lesson learned due to the failure, right? And so colleges love that kind of introspection in something didn't work in your life and how did you handle it and how did you rise from it. So were you challenged is definitely something that they're looking for in your activities. Did you grow? Once again, from challenge, from failure, from success. You should become a bigger person, a more mature person. How are you growing as a person through your activities? And what's important to you? This is something that they want to know. What's important to you and why does it matter to you? This is everything that they're dissecting within your application, that once they understand that of you and hopefully you have demonstrated what the answers to these questions are, then that's when they say, does this person fit the class that we're trying to create who will join us in the fall? So how do you answer all of these questions? The most important way to do it is obviously after academics comes the activities, right? So we've seen this building block from last month's webinar as well. And with that, it is, these are kind of the elements of what encompass an application. So you're always going to have the academics as your foundation. That is foundational because college is about academics, right? But knowing that that is just your ticket to play, every peer, every strong applicant, competitive applicant, will have pretty much what you have as well. High GPA, high test scores, course rigor, right? So it is these activities and employment and involvement, the awards that are really going to hone in on proving out what you're interested in and how you spend your time. So over the years, you've seen this from last month as well. The advice that I give to freshmen is get involved with everything. Absolutely everything that you can get involved in and you want to try, go for it. Okay. If you have a huge list of activities from freshman year, that is exactly what you want to be doing. Come sophomore year, you've got to look at those activities that you've been most involved in, and you really have to start to determine where you want to spend your time for the rest of high school. So you need to define your interests. You need to let some activities go, okay? And the activities that you're letting go, that's going to allow more time to be filled with getting more pointy in what really interests you. And that is what colleges would like. They don't need a well-rounded student to join their class in the fall. They're going to make a well-rounded class with pointy students. Okay, so that is what's so important, is that if you're now a sophomore, you're going to look at everything that you've been involved with, and you're going to have to let some things go. I know it's hard. I know that you have your schedule and you like to dabble here and there, but this is the time where you've got to regain time so that you can even delve more deeply into what really interests you come junior year. So that's where the digging deeper comes in. It's also a time during junior year where you're going to set up the bait. You're going to set it up for yourself that by either the end of junior year or in senior year, you will take the lead on whatever you have committed to activities-wise. Okay. Then by the end of senior year, or even at the beginning of senior year, you don't want to just keep that interest locked in with you or within your group. You want to share your interests outside of yourself. And that's where that impact comes in, right? Answering that, how have you impacted your community with what interests you? So this is what we're going to be doing. Okay. So I've developed a workbook. This is going to be your story. Okay. You have to start creating your narrative. So I've devised these worksheets, okay, that I'm going to be giving to you. And there are all these little worksheets that you're going to be doing. And you're thinking, why should I do this work? I've got, at least 3 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years more to even worry about this. Why do I have to do more work? Here's why. This is going to be great for record keeping. Okay. It is going to be great because the earlier you begin this and start to just add to that list and add to that list, you're not going to miss a thing when you're ready to do your activities section for the Common Application. Your future self will also thank you. You don't have to rack your brain, right? The summer before senior year, when you're going to open that Common Application and start working on it, that you're thinking, oh, I don't know, what was that award called? I don't know. What year was that? I'm not sure, right? So the earlier you begin this, the better you're going to, and easier the application is going to be for you to do. It's also going to be a clear indicator of what section of the activity section you might be missing, that you might be a little lean on. So I think that once you fill out these worksheets and these charts, you're, I think, going to be looking at it going, wow, I think I'm a little light in this area. What can I do to enhance this more? So I think once it's actually in front of you and not just swirling in your head, and you actually see it right there, I think it's going to be pretty easy to see where you need to maybe invest some time in building that area up a little bit more. And it's also going to be organized in one place. Okay. So that's what's really great about this too. You can make as many copies of the sheets as you want if you run out. There's a lot of space though. And it is a fillable form. Okay. Easily update as you go along. So, if you go and you do some time at the church, right? This is what really gets people is the duration of what they are doing. So the activity section on the Common App will always ask you, not only for that activity, it will ask you how many hours per week did you do that activity? And how many weeks in the year did you do that activity? So these charts are asking the exact same thing. So you can really start to think about how much time am I spending in this particular activity. You could start to figure out the average, right, throughout the year. But I also want to point out that when you are filling out the duration of your activities, always include travel time. So if you go to Taekwondo and it's 30 minutes away, well, from your house to Taekwondo and back is an hour right off the bat. And a lot of people forget that travel time because they think, oh, well, but when you are dedicated to that activity, you need to tell the admissions officers how much time that activity takes. And if it's a 30-minute drive there and 30 minutes back for Taekwondo, that's an hour of Taekwondo in addition to whatever else you're doing there, whether you're teaching the young kids, whether you're doing your own lesson, what have you. Okay. Whether you're doing a competition, right? All of that gets encompassed in the duration. So remember that. Develops your narrative. You begin to see when it is right in front of you what your interests are. It's not just, this workbook isn't just about charting either. It's about thoughtful questions to ask yourself that are going to be great for the backbone of essays as well, future supplemental essays for highly selective college applications. And it inspires you to act when you see it there and you see that maybe you're lacking in one particular area. It really does compel you to say, all right, let me think how I can enhance this area. Or you're not in this alone. Book a meeting with me. Let's talk about it. Let's brainstorm. It's amazing when clients and I start to talk about things and one idea snowballs into another, and then soon we're talking about, okay, go ahead. The student client's so excited about getting started with it, but it took us about several iterations, right, to get to that point of finally pinpointing what they're going to do. So don't be afraid to reach out as well. Okay. So what I've done is in the last email that I sent out to you about the agenda for March, there's a link to a Google Doc for the Knowledge is Power Club workbook. This is just coming to my head. I think I want everything all in one place for you. So I'm going to move where the calendar is. I'm going to copy it into this workbook as well. So you're going to have the workbook here, okay? That's just the cover page. There's going to be your activities workbook as well. There's also going to be a tab for strengths, what your strengths are going to be. We're going to talk about that in the end. And you could also put the College Visit Guidebook. If you have not downloaded the College Visit Guidebook, okay, I'm telling you right now, do not fall asleep tonight until you download that guidebook, because there are pages in there. There are forms to fill out with every single college visit that you take. You could take those forms, fill them, and you can stick them right here in this tab for College Visit Guidebook so that it's all encompassed in one location in Google Docs. Okay, so there's that. I can tell you this though. If anyone's techie out there, I welcome a conversation. But I do my worksheets in Canva. I convert them to a PDF, and I place the link into Google Docs. When you open that, Google Docs will take their own preview, not Adobe Acrobat for the PDF. Google takes their own preview, which makes the fillable form not fillable. Okay, that's a problem. So there will be instructions, but please make sure that for each PDF that's listed, that you download the PDF. That way it will open up in Acrobat and you'll be able to just fill in the forms right there digitally. If you're not a digital person, then you could just go ahead and print, maybe have a binder, and you can go ahead and just, manually fill out the forms, fill out the worksheets, and have it somewhere in a binder altogether as well. Okay? All right. So what are these charts that I'm talking about? There's the extracurricular activities. So like I said, you're going to put down what the extracurricular activity was, the years and duration. So hours, how many hours per week, how many weeks in a year. That's going to be important to evaluate. Okay. And if you had any particular position and what the description of the club is and anything like that. All right. As much information as possible. There's also an awards and recognition chart. So this could be awards that you have achieved. Obviously, you're on the honor roll, high honors, what have you, right? So if you have that, go ahead and put it down, right? That's pretty derivative and pretty self-explanatory when they get your transcript. But what other awards are there? And what's interesting about this chart is that when people look at it and the student is like, oh, it doesn't look like I really have a lot, right? Then what ends up happening is that student starts to seek out competitions. They start to seek out these contests, right? To see if they can win awards, because colleges love to see not only you explaining what you love and what you're good at, but they also love to see how others recognize that you are also good at what you think you're good at. So when you can get the recognition of others on board, that's really, really important as well. There's also an employment and community volunteering chart. So, do you have a job, right? We've discussed this before. Between two applicants, if everything's the same except one has a job and one doesn't, even if it's delivering sandwiches from Jimmy John's, they're going to take the delivery driver, okay? Because there's these soft skills that develop in you when you have a job, okay? So put all of that down. Any kind of community service that you're doing, any kind of volunteering that you're doing, just this is, again, it's a one-stop area to put it all together and keep it organized for you. Okay. Then there's a personal experiences, any kind of hobbies that you have, any travel that you've done on your own or with the family, right? All of that should be in one area. I'm not saying you're going to use all of this, all right? That's not what I'm saying. But you need to see where your time is going before you can decide where your time is heading. So this is why you really should do this. And then obviously the last chart is any kind of certifications, any kind of LinkedIn certifications, anything that you've done with Coursera, HarvardX, MITx, any kind of summer pre-college programs that you've been involved in, anything that demonstrates your interest in the major that you have selected or the field that you have selected. Where's the proof that you are stepping out and finding out to whether this is a career for you or not, right? You just didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I want to do this, right? Colleges want to see that you've investigated, that you've put yourself in situations to really explore, that your curiosity within that field has been explored and what you have done to make that happen, okay? So that's going to be important as well. All right, so that takes care of the activities workbook. And just to make sure that you get the fillable form also, I will send you an email for that as well so that you can go ahead and open it. Again, if anyone out there is techie, right, I've tried to convert it with Google Doc. It completely changes the formatting. It's awful. And I too use my time wisely, and there are just some things that are not worthy of my time. Okay, so we make it work. Now let's talk about the second half of what's happening in March, and this is really, really important. And I really hope that you heard my whole spiel about it in the agenda for March in my video. So the strengths movement, right? Very, very important. And this is one of those things that you're going to have for the rest of your life, okay? There are going to be revealed to you through this assessment 5 strengths. And those 5 strengths are innate. It's how God created you. It is what has been instilled in you. You cannot lose these strengths, nor can anyone take them away from you. Okay. And this is not strength in definition of opposite of weakness. It's rather in definition of opposite of depletion. So these strengths are those moments where you're in the zone, where time stands still, where you're the happiest. So there's something called the Clifton Strengths. Now, organizations around the world have used the Clifton Strengths within their own managerial teams. So the team manager has his people on the team take the Clifton Strengths so that he knows or she knows each individual strengths, because when you know a person's, when they're in the zone, when they're happiest, then you can delegate the tasks out appropriately to the people that are going to get that particular task done the best, right? And then everybody wins because the results of the team are outstanding. So understand this. This is, again, something used around the world, It's highly effective. It's an incredible thing. It is an incredible thing to have. And it is something that will stay with you even beyond college, actually. So, what's going to be happening is that, parents especially think that it's a career finder. Okay, it's not. It's a you finder. So you're not going to be told that you should be a firefighter or you should be an executive. That is not what this is going to reveal to you. It's going to be revealing your in the zone strengths. Because of your age, freshmen, sophomores, you will not be taking the adult version until junior year. Okay, beginning or okay. So what you'll be taking is the Clifton Strengths for Students. Okay, so we're going to start with a baby step here. All right, and you're going to get just as much from the student version. And what will be very interesting for you is, and it will be interesting, will the adult version have different strengths that come out versus the student version? So here's how this is going to work. Okay, this is going to work in the fact that you will be getting, okay, because I have to purchase the assessment, you will be getting an email, not from me. It will be a third-party email, which is why it's important to check spam, from Gallup, Gallup. Gallup hosts the Clifton Strengths. Okay, it could be from Clifton Strengths too. I don't know, but look, Gallup, Clifton Strengths. All right, you're going to get this email, and it's going to say, "Are you ready to take the assessment?" Okay, set aside time to do it, at least 30 minutes. Okay, to do it. Read through the instructions. You will have to make an account, okay, and go through the assessments. Your results are actually delivered to you immediately, and they are also placed into my account as well so that I can see them as well. Okay, so you're going to get the results immediately. Here's the thing I want you to know. Do not, let me repeat this, do not purchase anything. I am purchasing for you what you need. You will open up the email, follow the instructions, take the assessment, and that is it. It may come back saying, for $59.99, we can go ahead and do 100 strength. No, do not do that. So I'm warning you now, please do not pay for anything. I am taking care of that for you, and you don't have to purchase anything. Okay. So to finish off, as I was saying, the masterclass at the end of this month is, do you have what it takes to be a competitive applicant in the highly selective college range? And so we are going to be going through those characteristics. And for some of you, it may hit hard. For others, it might be like, hey, I think I've got this, right? So it's either going to confirm and validate and affirm, or it's going to maybe make you think and go, well, I don't know, I'm not quite sure. So this is just about being real, and it's about evaluation of yourself within that framework. So I hope to see you March 29th at 6 p.m. The code for free registration on the website under the events page is top 20. So I hope to see you there. This concludes our March, our March meeting, and I'll go ahead and stop the recording. And if anyone has any personal questions, we can go ahead and continue on with that. Okay? All right, thanks.